Hello, everyone. I have been reflecting on the past year, and I think that my personal development journey really kicked off or got super exciting when I started reading books. And I have always loved, well, okay, not always. I didn't like reading books in my childhood because my parents forced me to, which I hated. Forceful action doesn't really motivate anyone, especially children or teenagers, which I was. But then I grew up, and around the age of 20, I am now 25. Around the age of 20, I realized that I was at the university, and then people were sharing how much time it takes to write thesis and how much research takes, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, can you imagine how much time and effort it takes to write a book? And that's when I realized that books actually have a lot of knowledge, and people who write books have invested a lot of time. Majority of them, like obviously there are not so great books and there are great books, but even if the book is not so great, I can't possibly imagine somebody investing like a year of work or like few years of work or even like 6 months of work into writing something that's valuable or like that's not valuable. Well, that to say, I think every book has something in it, some sort of message. And so I would like to share 5 books that changed my life, my thinking process, my mindset. I do think that it's important to reread them over and over again because majority of the books that I'm going to mention are like self-help books. And those books, for me, now that I've read like over 10, I don't know, maybe even more of them, I think they serve as, like sometimes you have a voice in your head that's like criticizing everything and like diminishing your value, and like that voice is always unhappy, unsatisfied, it's like judging. And there's also a voice in your head, or at least in my head, the voice that supports me, the part of me that's always on my side, the part of me that always motivates me and encourages me to go for things. And so I think self-help books serve as a way of strengthening the part of you that is encouraging and supporting. And for me, if we go into like psychology and therapy side of life, I think it's you creating a supportive parent that you probably didn't have, or maybe creating a parent or like a friend that you wanted to have when you were growing up, so that that person in your mind can support you through difficulties. And this is how I think you create like a foundation within yourself, that like safe ground that you can stand on. And when you read self-help books, most of them, I'm also going to talk about it at the end, but I want to say that after like reading 10 of them, and some of them are more spiritual, some of them are more money related, some of them are more just action and like mindset oriented, I think at the core, they just have the same message, which is be on your side, follow your dreams, follow your intuition. Your intuition is that little quiet voice in your head that always knows what to do, what's right, what feels good. And if we could only stop resisting that, life would be so much easier and so much more beautiful. Obviously there are other things like circumstances and etc., and like upbringing and the background that influences how we act and what we do, and how we like, if we pay attention to that voice or not. And of course, there's also a need for a balance. Obviously, your voice can be like, I wanna, I don't know, buy a jet tomorrow. And this is where your mind, which is supposed to help you and serve you, has to make a plan and actionable plan, decisions, like how are you going to reach that? It's not that you're going to spend all your savings tomorrow to buy a private jet to fly somewhere. It's a system. It's a system that you create within yourself. So all of those self-help books are just there to remind you of what you already know, and to encourage that positive self-talk, which I think is extremely important, especially when you're transitioning from being a like college graduate or high school graduate into the adulthood, like being an adult. From my experience, that transition is the most difficult one, because I think when you get out to the world, to the to the big world, and stop perceiving yourself as a teenager or as a young, unexperienced person, that's when a lot of trauma is coming out. That's when a lot of negative shit that you've gone through is coming up, and you have to deal with it. So having that support is very important. Anyway, this was a long intro. I'm gonna go straight to a list of books. I actually have them right here. I am that old school person, old-fashioned person who loves paper books. I love copies. I hate reading online. I don't like it. My eyes hurt. My brain doesn't really function. I don't want to stare at the screen. I love my iPad, but well, reading from iPad is cool, but I left my iPad at home, and I thought I was gonna go back, but I never went back. So it's been 3 years, and my iPad is still there. So the only way I like to read is from iPad, though always prefer papers. So we're gonna start from someone who is very, very, very dear to me. It's Jen Sincero, and I have 2 of her books. And she's a coach, a writer, just an amazing person. Her voice is just so relatable. Like the way she writes is like she's speaking to me like she's my best friend, or she's like writing out my thoughts and what I've been through. You Are a Badass is just a Bible for anyone who is looking to get out from this the I would say even like half depressed state, when you are so lost and you have almost lost hope. Like it's somewhere out there, but you don't have a direction. You don't believe you can make it somewhere. I highly recommend. I got this book from a secondhand store very randomly in Playa del Carmen. I'm so grateful that I went to that shop, stopped by, and just picked it from the shelf. I'm sure it's not expensive. It's probably like $10 or something at this point. It's not, yeah, it's like 10 pounds. There is a price tag. What is this book about? Step-by-step guide, walking you through very, very similar ideas that other books talk about. I think basically she is trying to zoom you out from your painful situation, from your thoughts, because we think a lot when we're depressed or when we're unhappy. Zoom you out and make you look at your life from a different perspective. There are chapters on mindset, there are chapters on God and spirituality, there are chapters on self-perception, there are chapters on money and meditation and procrastination, the overwhelm, the fears. Everything you really need is in this book. I highly recommend, and I also highly recommend reading it multiple times, because it's quite practical. And I'll be honest with you, if I was to apply everything this book teaches me, I would probably be a millionaire at this point. But application takes time, and again, it's on my list to reread it again. I think I read it twice, and like every chapter has something that you can apply practically. Following this book, she actually has a series of books. Following is the book on money. You Are a Badass at Making Money. Just amazing book. Again, you're working through your limiting beliefs. You're working through I would say it's a workbook. Again, every single chapter has just such an easy way of explaining different complex things. It's everything from how do you shift your perspective on money, how do you stop being afraid of money, how do you treat money differently, and just fucking make it and forget about the guilt or the shame that you have around it. Again, I highly recommend reading it multiple times. I am gonna read it second time this year 100%, because I've read other books on money, and to be honest, I think this is just literally all you need, unless you really want to go into like investment and like finances or like economics, like something deeper, then yes, this should be enough, at least for your 20s. Like, again, unless you want to go for like a deeper investment guide or something, then yes, you should probably get something more advanced. Since we got to the topic about money, we're gonna talk a little bit about this baby. A happy pocket full of money, infinite wealth and abundance in the here and now. Gikanji. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly or not. It's not an easy read, but it has its purpose and its meaning. The writer touches upon, he starts from the idea of everything is an energy, and he goes very, very deep into quantum physics, which actually got me interested in quantum physics quite a lot. I think this year I'm gonna explore the physics a little bit more, since everyone is talking about energy and blah blah blah, but I have like quite a few notes here. I think the book is great to read once. I don't think I want to read it again, to be honest. A lot of the ideas that he is sharing, or she, it's he, David, I have found easily digested through other writers. But what I did like, let me have a look at my notes here. Oh, also, what I did like about this book is, first of all, at the end, you have a recap of every chapter. And this book is also quite practical. So he kind of goes by like, how about you recap every single chapter and you actually do the exercise, like describe, review, write it down, blah, 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 answer the questions, like very good. Reflection is the mother of, like, you have to, like, this is the only way to internalize the information. A lot, quite spiritual, I would say too, quite spiritual, though again, I would suggest read it after you read this one. Read it after. I would give it, so this I would give 10 out of 10. This I would give 8 out of 10. Just gonna give them scores. Next one, we're also gonna touch on money. So I love money. I love talking about money, and I love numbers. I think we should stop being fucking shy and weird about talking about money. Think and Grow Rich. Excuse me. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. I have like two opinions on this book. So first of all, the language is fucking difficult to read and understand. Like, I'm not a native speaker. I understand that. I get that. My English is fluent. I'm cool. Like, I shouldn't struggle. But this guy, well, first of all, it's been years since he wrote the book, right? And also the language that he's using is like from past centuries. Quite difficult to follow, but it has also great ideas. He's tapping a lot into the desire, into the want, which is where I think, and I've read it in another book, which I'm going to talk about later, that making enough money for a living is not a problem. Making enough money for a living that you desire is a very personal situation. So you can't push yourself from the motivation that's coming from the need to make the money that you want to, that you know, to make the money that would allow you to have the lifestyle that you want. So you have to start from the desire itself, from the want. You can't push yourself from the need, because making $10,000, for example, people don't need that much money in reality. Like, there's so many countries, there's so many places where you can survive on $1,000, like $1,000, and making 10K should be just a personal desirable goal. You can't push yourself. Like, it's really hard to push yourself and be like, I need this money. You don't need this money. Like, no, we can stop lying to ourselves. So he taps a lot. He taps into the desire a lot, and I have quite a lot of like notes here to believe. He also mentions the idea of masterminds, like having your people around you. He doesn't talk a lot about spirituality, but to me the book is not as practical as I think it could be. Also maybe because of the language, and also I'll be very honest with you, I haven't finished it. I couldn't even finish it. I think I was like 2/3 through the book, and I was like, I just can't, like, I can't follow the thoughts. I still recommend it though. Still recommend. It's classics. I think I'm gonna go back to it and read it again. This is an amazing book. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Wonderful. I highly recommend to every single person on this earth. The only thing I can say about this book is that it's a must, because whatever the writer is describing in this book and how he leads you through a storyline and how he pulls you out from very the book is healing. Like, it's literally healing. It's a healing book. If there's anything that's bothering you in your life, if you're ever worried or frustrated and you can't let go of the worry, read this book. If you ever feel depressed, read this book. If you ever feel unhappy, read this book. If you're not happy with yourself, with where you're at, if something is off, read this book. Should be a Bible. I've read it twice. I think I've read it a second time. Like, I did like just 2 rounds of reading it right away. It was amazing. Highly recommend. And the last, the cover is in my bedroom, but 10x is easier than 2x. I posted a video last week. I posted a video on where I was sharing some of my thoughts on this book. I love the book. I think they could have gone deeper into some concepts. I love how he encourages qualitative thinking rather than quantitative. So it's like quality over quantity. Absolutely love it. I think we should approach life only from the quality perspective, only because it's never about the amount. It's just about what you do and how you do it, and what you feel and what kind of energy you get out of it. I also don't think I love the fact that they've mentioned their coaching program, and they did say that they're funneling people through. It's like, you buy the book, you like the book, then you go to the website, then you join the program, you pay $15K, blah blah blah. Like, I get it, nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's mentioned quite often here. Also, the book mentions other 2 books, Gain and a Gap and a Gain. I've heard great reviews from people who read that book. That's going to be on my list. And there was also Who Not How. It's also a great book that they are referencing to. I haven't read it, but it's going to be on my list. Highly recommend. This book, I think, is going to be helpful for business owners that are just starting to scale up, and for freelancers. Yeah, I would say like those 2 categories would be the people that I would highly recommend. Everyone else, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that relatable unless you want big money, unless you want because not everyone wants to make $1 million. Not everyone wants to have a luxury life. They might say they want it, but they don't really want it. They want it because the society portrays that. I love money. I want to make money. I love the book. But if you're like more family oriented, or if you're not like interested to grind and work and just dream really, really, really big and take risks, which is fine. I respect that. Again, it's not for everyone. Just personal preference. This might not be your book. Again, sorry, the cover is in my bedroom. There's like a proper cover. I just took it outside because the book is not mine. It's my friend's book. It's called 10x is easier than 2x. I'm gonna make a list of these books under this video so you can see them clearly, but I just want to say briefly that after reading these books, and I also have a bunch of other books in my bedroom that I've read, they all talk about the same thing, like be your own best friend and support, and just remind yourself that everything is possible. It's possible to change everything and anything. Like life can change tomorrow. Nothing is permanent. You are the one who is deciding when to change it and how you want to change it. I'm gonna wrap up this video because it's quite long, but I'm hoping you're having a good week, and I will see you on Thursday.